This is the first time I've been here, and I'm impressed.
These are the lectures which are giving you an idea about the future, where the whole trend is going, where we are moving.
Speakers can, have high quality speech with really new information over there. So yes, it's interesting.
Welcome back, everybody. We hope everybody had a good lunch break, a good networking break. It's time now to continue our program, and we are at our What's Next in Tech segment, our keynote presentation today. Last year, I introduced our next speaker as a young gun in the world of apps. In 2009, he co-founded AppDirect, creating a marketplace in the cloud for buyers and sellers of apps. And he says 2013 will be a year of revolution in the cloud. What exactly does he mean? He's here to tell us that today. Please help me welcome Mr. Daniel Sachs.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back here at CeBIT 2013. And I'm definitely going to address the issue of how 2013 is the year that the cloud service marketplace revolutionizes business. I'm going to touch on a few topics that are really hot in today's date. The first is the shifting model to delivering apps and services on demand. The second is really touching on consumerization of the enterprise and how businesses are benefiting from some of the best practices in the consumer space. And finally, I'm going to talk about the rise of the cloud service marketplace and how it's revolutionizing the way businesses operate. So Marc Andreessen was quoted earlier this year saying, "Software is eating the world." Now, what he means by that is software is literally penetrating every aspect of society, whether that's applications in your car, in your fridge, for healthcare, for agriculture. Apps are everywhere. And that's having a profound impact on the way we live and the way we interact with people. We're ever more connected, and not just connected through the information online, but through information across multiple devices. This proliferation of devices is fundamentally changing the way we interact with technology. And that's really creating one of the biggest shifts, not just in the consumer world, but in the business world as well. And there's huge potential for disruption in terms of the software ecosystem due to this trend. So what we've seen is a rapid increase in the number of smart devices available. In the early 2000s, there were less than 100 million devices out there, primarily computers. Today, there's almost 3 billion smart devices that are connected and that are interconnected and driving a lot of information. Now, how much information? Over 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are being processed through these machines each year. To give you an indication of how big that is, that's enough data to fill the US Library of Congress every day 100,000 times over. Now, that's a lot of data to be driving through these devices. And that really creates a huge opportunity and a catalyst for the growth and interconnectivity between information, between devices, and how computers can really become more intelligent in advising businesses and recommending tools, technologies, and ways of really crunching data to become smarter. And what that also represents is a massive market opportunity for anyone who really cracks this space. So we're seeing an evolution of an app economy, more developers building applications. We saw that traditionally for the consumer space, where gaming developers, where mobile developers came and built on platforms like iPhone and Android. And now we're starting to see that in the business. And that's what we're really going to touch on here today. So what we've found is that when the app economy really changed for consumers, whether that be on mobile, tablet, or other devices, it fundamentally created a shift in the way people find, buy, and use on-demand services. Let's look at a few examples. So in the past, you would go into a CD shop or a record shop and buy things off the shelf. Today, you easily go to iTunes, and they intelligently recommend applications per your taste. You can search by genre or category, and then you can use them on a device that's now connected. Let's take another example, books. We used to go to the bookstore or the library, and now fundamentally, people are using this information and researching books, magazines, etc., on your iPad, on your Kindle. So again, a fundamental difference in the way we're accessing information. Then we're also finding that movies and TV, it's again shifted. We're moving to smart TVs, smart connected devices, where you can get what you need on demand. So this whole philosophy toward the shifting delivery model to on-demand is now really impacting the enterprise as well. Over the last few years, we've seen a proliferation of employees beginning to use their own devices at work. And that's changing the way IT operates. What we've also seen over the last 4 to 5 years is a shift in the number of apps that are used per business. So businesses have found that instead of using traditional technologies that have been approved by IT, they can go online and subscribe to software as a service applications that have a much more seamless user experience and provide much more value to the end business user. However, that's creating major pain points for IT. It becomes incredibly difficult for them to manage security, vulnerability, multiple passwords, multiple bills for all these applications. And what we've seen is just how the on-demand delivery shift model impacted and shifted in the consumer space. That's now happening in the business space. And this is the fundamental trend and revolution that we're going to talk about for the rest of the session. So what we've found is that businesses really want to buy services in a seamless way from a trusted provider. And that's just the same consumer behavior that they're seeing when they buy music on iTunes or when they buy books on the Kindle. So now, who's delivering these services? When we think about businesses, businesses have always traditionally gone to trusted providers to deliver their service. Whether that's going to a Staples or Best Buy and buying it in store, whether that's going to a VAR or getting services bundled with a telco, these trusted providers have always been critical to the delivery of software. And now they're becoming ever more relevant on the online world by launching cloud service marketplaces. So this represents one of the largest growth segments of the cloud. Gartner identified that the public cloud market is a $177 billion market by 2015, and one of the fastest growing segments of cloud is actually this ability called cloud service brokerage, which is the ability for people to package and add value on top of existing services. Now, where are we in 2013? Last year at CeBIT, I mentioned that we're noticing this rise of the cloud service marketplace. However, 2013 has been a particular inflection point where we've seen 1 or 2 marketplaces that were around last year to now dozens of marketplaces offered by some of the biggest providers in the world. And that makes it much easier for businesses to access and use services. To give you an example, in the past, the way you would buy software would be to go to Staples on the shelf, figure out what you want, whether that's QuickBooks by Intuit or a Norton Security, and pick it up, have to go install it, manage it, and then that license gets old. Now with the cloud world, Staples has offered a cloud service marketplace to their customers so they can continue to deliver cloud services in an intelligent way. And now that experience for buying software becomes so much richer because businesses can intelligently be recommended the services that they need and that's applicable for them. And it becomes much easier to access all these tools. So fundamentally, this symbolic nature of how the delivery model has shifted has changed the way people interact online. What we're also seeing is that more and more people are trying to get into this space. Whether that's telco providers or service providers, whether that's VARs, value-added resellers, other people who are delivering software as a service, there's huge potential for people to package and resell web-based apps. And that's what AppDirect's vision is to enable businesses and anyone essentially who wants to resell services to be able to do it in a very easy-to-use way. And we've seen rapid growth in the number of partners that we've launched with and as well the level of success. To give you an indication, last year at CeBIT, Renee Oberman and the team at Deutsche Telekom launched the Telecom Cloud Business Marketplace. Over the last year, they've added over 40 amazing applications for German businesses, as well as key brand-named applications such as Microsoft 365, Symantec, Box.net, and iMeet. And they've seen tremendous success in bringing it to market. If you get a chance to head over to the telecom booth, you'll see the massive impact it's making on their customer ecosystem. We've also seen other key providers from around the world, whether that's people in the hosting space, such as Rackspace, whether that's Staples in retail, or whether that's Comcast in the cable space, and others. We're finding more and more people and enterprises are getting into the space of reselling software, which provides access to so many more businesses around the world to trusted local applications that are curated by this trusted provider. So fundamentally, now it's finally easier for businesses to access the services they need from one trusted provider. We've also found the scope of the types of businesses that are using these services is increasing. Last year, we were finding that primarily it was small businesses that were adopting cloud services. Now we're seeing large enterprises, and even small departments within large enterprises are beginning to adopt services in this marketplace type environment. We're also finding that larger enterprises want the need to curate a pre-approved catalog of SaaS applications. So one of the key trends that we'll continue to see grow is the internal IT departments creating a cloud service marketplace or catalog of pre-approved applications for their user base. Now, we've seen a lot of validation in this model. Influential analysts such as Agatha Poon from the 451 group have indicated that this is one of the fastest maturing segments of the cloud, essentially the enablement of business app marketplaces. And now we're here in 2013 with so many successful marketplaces launched and so many more opportunities for businesses to access all these great applications. So fundamentally, it's a very exciting point to be because now businesses can find, buy, and use all the applications they need from a trusted local provider, all secured with one password, centralized billing, and a really seamless experience for all their business users. So thank you so much for being here and really being a part of this push toward the consumerization of the enterprise. And in the future, we're going to see more and more businesses launching applications through these types of environments. Thank you very much.
Daniel, before we let you go, you were here last year talking about the development of the marketplace. Did you know last year, did you see that 2013 would be such a revolutionary year?
I think it was a prediction. Last year on stage, I mentioned that there would likely be a huge inflection point coming up. I didn't know that the rate in which this would happen would be so fast. So fundamentally, what we've seen is not just traditional players like telcos and hosting providers launch app stores. We're seeing app stores, again, in cars, in fridges, in all types of devices. So it's fundamentally the pace of which people are adopting app stores and the pace at which these devices are interconnecting and leveraging information is just rapidly accelerating.
Okay. Daniel Sachs, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. Okay, you knew that it was bound to come up in any discussion.